Hey everybody, welcome to the Dollar Vigilante, helping you to survive and prosper during and after the dollar collapse. And I've got another upcoming ICO coming on. It's actually a company called 5Miles, which is actually a very well-established company. It's sort of a competitor to Craigslist, which is kind of interesting because they're trying to bring sort of like Craigslist type classified or online sales to the blockchain, which I find really interesting, especially because Craigslist is a piece of crap site. I can't believe people still use it. I'm shocked every time I still see it. I'm surprised no one's come out with something way better, but actually 5Miles has. So 5Miles is has been established for a few years. It actually does $245 million of monthly gross merchandise value through their portal, and they have actually already raised $62 million from VCs to date. And that's just the 5Miles company, not even talking about the ICO. The ICO is coming out in, I think, November 21st, sometime around that date. So I actually have the CEO of 5Miles, Lucas Liu, on, and the CFO, Garwin Chan, coming in from Beijing. So it's quite late here. I think it might be quite early there. I'm not sure. I don't know how the time zones work exactly. But it's great to have you guys on. Thanks for coming on with me.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jeff.
Yeah, thanks. And so why don't you just start briefly with what 5Miles is, because it's already a very well-established company. Let's talk about that part before we get into the ICO. So just tell us, when did it start, what's it doing, how big is it now, that sort of a thing.
Okay, I can start. So 5Miles, we started this company at 2014, and we launched the app in the 2015 January. And until today, we have 13 million downloads and 12 million of the registered users. So that basically 5Miles is a peer-to-peer buy and sell app. It's like the Craigslist, but it's much more mobile-oriented, hyper-local, and much safe when you buy and sell on the 5Miles.
Yeah, so just adding on that, 5Miles, the name itself represents kind of a radius, so a 5-mile radius. And it's meant to really cover everything that you could find within your communities, within your neighborhoods, within places that you normally go to. So not just is it a buy and sell app, it's also a mobile marketplace where you can find local service providers, local businesses. It's actually now become one of the top 10 used car selling platforms because buying a used car tends to be a local business. You're dealing with local sellers, whether it's a dealership or individuals. So it's been very popular for that as well.
Yeah, it's great. It's really interesting. I'm glad to see some well-established companies starting to gravitate more towards the blockchain. That's what you guys are doing now. You're doing an ICO coming up in about a week. Tell us a little bit about how that will work. What would be the difference between 5Miles and then once you're an ICO, once you have a token, what will be the difference in how you're doing business at that point?
Can you do that?
Sure. So if you think about 5Miles to start with, which is the local marketplace that we just described, most of the activity is between customer to customer, kind of peer-to-peer marketplace. At this point, a lot of our processes are still run in a centralized fashion. So for example, every single day we have about 40 to 50,000 new listings that come up. And we use a lot of machine learning, a lot of technology to see, okay, what are troublesome listings, what might be illegal, etc. But then there's always going to be a handful, if not more than a handful, of troublesome listings that we just don't have a very good bearing on. We have teams of 25 people looking through all the pictures, all the descriptions for these things, but it's very hard to make a judgment call. So one of the original things that led us towards thinking about blockchain technology for local marketplaces is how do we decentralize a lot of these processes so that it's more scalable and there's more buy-in from the community. So if your listing got rejected, what if you had some economic incentive say, hey, can I actually appeal that decision? And it's everyone else around you, your other peers, your buyers and sellers who you've interacted with before. There are also stakeholders in the community. Then you say, you know what, that toy gun, it's actually not that dangerous. We're going to allow you to list it. Or, that pet that you're trying to put up for adoption, you're not doing anything that's related to animal cruelty. It's actually a nice thing that you're doing, so we're going to allow that. So we're trying to not just decentralize, but also democratize online marketplaces.
Okay, and so how will this token work, for example? So why, for example, would someone want to buy this upcoming ICO?
Okay, we started this project early this year, and we already finished the pre-sale. And today, the public sale will start at November 21st. And go to the cm.5miles.com. You can contribute your in this ICO. So each your Ethereum will equal 7,000 CMT. So that started from the November 1st.
Yeah, in terms of the motivations for why someone would want to be part of CyberMiles, which is our blockchain initiative and the network that we're building, it's really because we think the combination of 5Miles and CyberMiles could be very powerful. One, to start with, 5Miles is a very natural ecosystem to do blockchain development. It's peer-to-peer to begin with. We also have a market-by-market approach that's very highly scaled. So, for example, in Dallas we have more than 1 million registered users. In Houston we have another 1 million registered users. For us, it's very easy to do the A/B testing for our different blockchain features and applications in real time with a lot of scale to say, okay, what works best, what kind of smart contracts work, and what smart contracts don't work. I think that's a huge developmental advantage that we have versus other blockchain projects. So having 12 million registered users to really jumpstart our network, kind of be the first early adopters, and have that kind of scale is something that we think is quite powerful. Secondly, we also think that a lot of the blockchain principles that we're putting in is very, very highly tied to how we want to run 5Miles. So, essentially, when we first started out with 5Miles, we wanted to build a marketplace that leveled the playing field for all buyers and sellers, not just the biggest companies, the biggest advertisers that had that technology know-how, that had those large advertising budgets could succeed. We wanted 5Miles to be a successful platform for everyone. Blockchain allows us to really accelerate that. So, for example, what we could do with CyberMiles tokens, which is our native cryptocurrency that's going to be part of CyberMiles blockchain, is that we could really put in the economic incentives for people to be more active in the marketplaces. And that activity is not just from the consumers who have a lot of followers on 5Miles, they start up communities within 5Miles, they become brand ambassadors, they create a lot of content, but it's also for sellers as well. Sellers could very easily adapt CyberMiles tokens for real-time promotions. If you're that local hair salon or you're that local restaurant and you want to target people within your close radius within a certain amount of time, then all of a sudden you can run real-time digital promotions backed by CyberMiles tokens. So these are all things that we think are highly tied to what 5Miles mission statement is, and it just so happens that that mission statement would be quickly accelerated if we have the CyberMiles blockchain technology as part of it.
That's great. One of the things I heard about 5Miles and CyberMiles is, I don't know who wrote this, but in an email they wrote to me, this project will make Alibaba go bankrupt. What would you say to that? Like, what's your sort of, your overall big plans with all this? Is this actually something that could become a serious competitor to things like Alibaba and perhaps things like eBay? And
Lucas, you're a former executive from Alibaba, so I'll let you take that one.
Yes, I worked in Alibaba for the 4 years, and that's a pretty long time ago, and at the early years. So today, the eBay and Alibaba Group, they are very centralized e-commerce platform, just, which means everything is decided by the company or the managing team. It's not decentralized. It's totally centralized. So eBay charge like 14% of the transaction fee, which is means the listing fee plus the marketing fee. And the Ali Group take the similar amount of money from the buyer and the seller. So that's why Alibaba Group grew so quick and so big. They're really a giant company today. But actually, the seller and the buyer, they may not be very happy on the platform because the marketing, everything is really expensive cost, really high cost. So how can we take advantage of the blockchain? Because blockchain, which is the first, the transaction fee is almost zero. You know that today the payment gateway in from the PayPal or the Stripe usually takes 3%. That's allowed for the e-commerce. And so the decentralized blockchain technology, which enable you transfer, is really, really cheap. The second is, if you, how about the small business? Can they take advantage of the blockchain? Today is definitely no, because it's very high. It's still a very technology part. So not all those small businesses, can they do ICO? Can they use the blockchain to issue their coupon? Not not at all. So CyberMiles is we think about is we build the first is we go to the payment using the CMT, which is the transfer the money to everyone to the business is very, very low cost. The second is we take advantage of the this blockchain technology and enable all the small business guys. They can send out the coupons, they can send the coin, or even they can do ICO on the CyberMiles. I mean, it's we use a smart business template. They just can set easily. They can do ICO on the CyberMiles. So and Gavin already mentioned. We also have lots of other features, which is enable the customer with really, really low cost do their business. So that is part of the eBay and Alibaba. They cannot do that.
Yeah, very interesting. One of the things I'm reading through some of the investor deck on CyberMiles is there's a comparison of CyberMiles versus Ethereum here. So do you see CyberMiles as sort of being a smart contract platform for retail? Is that sort of what you're trying to do?
Yes, yes, that is one very, very important part of CyberMiles. Just as I have mentioned, today Ethereum is really a good project. But it's really difficult to use for the, I mean, even you are not an engineer, how can you use Ethereum? You can only use ETH, I mean the token, but you cannot use it in your business. Or even today, there are not even one single really six-sided DAPP on the Ethereum. So why is that? There are several reasons. The first reason is it's really, the TPS is very slow, it's 20, something like that, 20. So it's really, really not good for the e-commerce. E-commerce, you know, is need thousands of that. So the TPS is too low. The second is it needed the engineer to coding on that. So for the small business, I mean, thousands of small business, they just don't know the technology. They cannot coding. So we must give them the template. They set the template, they just fill in the number, and then they can start their business. They can start building their site and start building their app, and they can do the business on the CyberMiles. So that is what we are working on.
And Jeff, that's really an extension of what we're already doing at 5Miles. So all the sellers, whether you're an individual or you're a local merchant, local business, they have essentially their mobile storefront, their own 5Miles storefront within the app. What we can do at CyberMiles is really extend the functionality of what that storefront can do. So running promotions, running real-time discounts, recruiting brand ambassadors from the 5Miles community. These are all things that we want to extend with the CyberMiles network. Another thing I would say, just kind of highlighting Lucas's point here, is that through our time with 5Miles, we've really realized that the way commerce is set up today is really disadvantaged towards small businesses and consumers who might not have the highest quality credit history, the best credit ratings. A lot of what you can do in terms of your access to financial solutions or access to marketing is really limited if you're a small guy. We really think that with CyberMiles, we can start addressing those problems, whether it's access to financing, whether it's access to really effective marketing tools happening through a mobile application. These are all things that we think is a common mission between 5Miles and CyberMiles.
Great. You're doing your ICO coming up here in about a week. Where is the actual development of the actual CyberMiles product at? Is it still in very early stage, beta stage? When will it actually be launched as its own product?
We think about this project early this year. We started because the 5Miles we have 40 engineers, so that's why we in this office this is our engineer center. The whole company, the 5Miles is based is headquartered in the Dallas, but we have 40 engineers in the Beijing. It's because here we find the really good talent. So CyberMiles we started early this year, and we have found several of the good engineers here. We also have our CTO, chief scientist in the Austin, Texas. So today we have around 10 engineers working on this project. We probably finished like 30% of the chain, all the work. And the CyberMiles will be ready online in the 6 months. So before that, we definitely will have some of the feature which are available in the 5Miles app.
And then some of the business logic behind the technology or the smart contracts that we're building. We've already had 4 years of experience with 5Miles in terms of how to handle disputes, different product categories, what the characteristics are. So we do think we can leverage all of the learnings that we've had over the last 4 years.
That's great. So with the ICO, how much are you looking to raise? How long will the ICO process be going on? And anything else you want to let us know about the ICO itself?
Sure. So the high-level numbers is that we'll be raising roughly 30 million through this ICO. That's kind of the dollar value equivalent according to our hard cap. At this point, the response from the communities, whether it's from the U.S. or globally, has been pretty strong. Originally, we set out to have 2 weeks as the target for the total ICO stage, but depending on how quickly we reach the hard cap, it might be shorter than that.
That's great. Is there anything else we haven't covered about CyberMiles or the ICO that you wanted to let us know about?
Do we need to disclose the pre-sale?
Yeah, I mean, we have some information on our website regarding the kind of allocations between pre-sale and the public portion of it. I think at this point, we can disclose that we've already hit kind of the full allocation that we had targeted for the pre-sale. So the total process does seem to be going relatively well. The other thing that we'd note is, for the audience out there is our CyberMiles token is really meant to be a utility token. So by the time we issue the tokens, we will have the first applications, at least in a beta version, if not kind of a fully released version, already available on 5Miles to use. So 5Miles already has kind of wallets for all the 5Miles user accounts. We plan on incorporating CyberMiles tokens into those wallets as well. And then the first functionality can be used on 5Miles utilizing those tokens.
Great. And if people want to get more information, which website should they go to?
Sure. It's cm.5miles.com.
Great. I appreciate you guys coming on. I think it's all very interesting. I think for people out there, this is sort of the very beginning. And for me, it's so interesting to see. I was around at the very beginning of the internet. And in many ways, a lot of these ICOs and blockchain applications and developments and tokens and technologies is almost like going through the next stage of the internet, going back to that sort of 1993, 1996 sort of a period of time right now. So that's why I like to do these videos every now and then, interviews every now and then, get some information out there about some of the more interesting looking ICOs going on out there. And there's been a lot of money raised with them, and I'm sure a lot more money will be raised over the next few years. It's just starting, in my opinion, this business. So if you like that, check it out. We'll have all the links, everything all down below. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And that's it for the Dollar Vigilante, helping you to survive and prosper during and after the dollar collapse.